Okay, so today I want to talk to you about James Joyce's Dubliners, and I really just want to first off saying this is a really quick read, a really fun read, and if you're not ready to commit time to a work such as Ulysses, a work such as Finnegan's Wake, or even A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, which does have some complexities to it, I think Dubliners is a great place to start with James Joyce, because the thing about James Joyce and the thing that I really loved about this book is it's real stories. It's not like the idealized, romanticized like stories that you get from most authors. Like there's not really a payoff. There's not really something that goes right. It tells the story of what it means to be human. Like when there's one resolution, something new occurs, something bad happens, and that's really the way the world works. Like if you have a job opportunity, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You're probably going to eventually stop liking that job. You might get more responsibilities. It might take away from your life in another area. And I think that's what Joyce does best in his storytelling. He tells things how they really are. When you read something of Shakespeare, when you read something of a more, classical style of things, I think everything's cut and dry. Everything is this and then that. There's not really any analysis. There's not really any hesitation. The characters are quite static. The characters don't grow. The characters aren't real human beings. The reason I say this, the reason I'm emphasizing this is there's a story where a girl basically has the opportunity of a lifetime. She can get away from her home, but she decides not to because she can't get beyond herself. She can't get beyond her own fear. She can't accept a new reality. She can't accept anything better because there's a part of her that doesn't believe she deserves it. And it's like in 5 pages, Joyce gets this across. And it's really fantastical. It's really amazing. And I'm very impressed with this novel. I'm very impressed with this collection of short stories. The ending short story is perhaps the most interesting. I don't really want to give it all away. I don't really want to give away all the themes, but it's really a story from Joyce's own life because Joyce's wife, Nora Barnacle, I think that's her name, she basically had a suitor when she was younger that was out in the cold and then died because he was trying to win her love and affection. And Joyce finds a way to interweave this into one of his stories, and it really gives a interesting perspective on love. It really gives an interesting idea that the people that we love, the people that we spend our lives with, we only have an idealized form of them, and the truth is they're not really what we see them to be. They're much more, and there's much more to the story than we can ever quite understand. And I don't know, the thing about James Joyce is James Joyce, he seems to evoke a deeper recognition of what life is through his writing. And it's really cool to see that the complexities of consciousness can be explained through words. And that's really what I get when I read Joyce. And I think if you've never read James Joyce, Dubliners is a great place to start because it's so much easier than Ulysses. It's so much easier than A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. I haven't even begin to start reading Finnegan's Wake, but I've heard that book is way harder to understand than Ulysses, so I'm excited for that challenge. But if you want to get all of the benefits of reading James Joyce and you don't want the homework assignment that is understanding the references, that is keeping track of all the characters, that is doing extra outside research to understand just what's going on, I think Dubliners is a really good story. It's about 150 pages, 160 pages, and I think you can knock this out in a day and you'll be very happy. The greatest part about Joyce is that he doesn't really write poetry, but it's poetic. And I really love that about him, and I think if you've never read anything by James Joyce, this is probably the place you want to start. This is probably the place where you're going to understand at least how he writes his styles. And I would describe Ulysses as Dubliners, but everything is happening at once. In Dubliners, there's one story at a time. There's one thing to focus on. Ulysses, it's every single person is having their own individual experience, having their own take on what is happening because their lens is shifted in a certain way because of this story, because of this, and it's a melting pot of all these ideas. Whereas Dubliners is just one story at a time. So it's a very cool book, very short book. I found myself reading this late last night, and I'm glad I picked this up. So I'll link the book at the end of the video. I'll link it in the description. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.